Hello everybody, it's Fufu here, and today I've got a very exciting video all about the Pokemon Ariados. Yes, we're going to give this overlooked Pokemon some much needed love and attention, and if you like this kind of video, please consider leaving a like at the end of the video because it really helps out my channel and it tells me what kind of content you guys want to see. So Ariados was introduced in Generation 2, and at first it was kind of an underwhelming competitive Pokemon, but since then it's gained a lot of useful tools in its arsenal. Its abilities are pretty useful in Swarm, Insomnia and Sniper, and it's also got some powerful moves that it never used to, namely Mega Horn, a very powerful bug move, albeit not particularly accurate, but also Sticky Web, which is huge because it's such a useful entry hazard. And Ariados in low Smogon tiers used to be a pretty good Sticky Webber. It gets Toxic Spikes too, so it's pretty good for those hazards. However, nowadays there are more Sticky Webbers around, and even in the low Smogon tiers, Ariados isn't the premier Sticky Webber, so that's a bit of an issue. But I'm here today to tell you why in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon there are many reasons still to use Ariados. It's a really cool Pokemon and it has some very nice tools now that you guys should check out because no one really is using these tools and I think that they deserve more attention. I'll be talking about them in order of increasing usefulness. Stay tuned for the end of the video because there are some really cool ways to use this Pokemon. First off, we're going to talk about its new signature move, Toxic Thread. It did used to have a signature move in Spiderweb, but now other Pokemon get it. For example, Araquanid, which actually uses it pretty well in combination with Toxic. But unfortunately that means that Ariados lost its signature move in that respect because other Pokemon get it. But it now has Toxic Thread, which is pretty cool. It's an interesting status move that reduces the opponent's speed by one stage and also causes poison. Ariados does get access to things like Toxic, which causes bad poison, and also String Shot, which reduces the opponent's speed by 2 stages. So why is having a move that causes 2 weaker statuses in combination better than having 2 separate stronger statuses? Well, it's all about the situations that you might want to use this in. Ariados a lot of the time is run as a suicide lead to set up Sticky Web and maybe Toxic Spikes as well. But the issue for Ariados here is that it is so slow and not particularly bulky either, which means that sometimes it does only get to set up one hazard and then it faints and your opponent may have a sturdy Pokemon or a Focus Sash Pokemon and you don't even get to break their sturdy or Focus Sash by dealing some damage. So that's not ideal for Ariados. Preferably you'd be able to at least break that sturdy or sash and also set up your hazards. So what Toxic Thread might allow you to do in certain situations is, if your opponent has a sturdy or sash Pokemon that is faster than Ariados, which to be fair most things are faster than Ariados, you are able to Toxic Thread them, which reduces their speed so that Ariados will outspeed the second turn, and also you can break any sash or sturdy with the poison damage. That's a very situational move, but actually it can be really useful because you can break their sturdy sash first turn and then still move first next time because you've reduced their speed, get your Sticky Web up, get your Toxic Spikes up, or just deal some damage with one of your attacking moves. The issue here is that even at -1 speed, the opponent may well still outspeed Ariados because Ariados is just that slow, so it's a bit of an issue. But still, Toxic Thread is a useful move to add to Ariados' arsenal. More moves is only better. It is a buff, but it's not necessarily the most useful buff, but something to consider adding onto the Suicide Lead set. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Ariados' Sniper ability, specifically that it never used to be able to use it to its full advantage. Ariados would have to rely on the Scope Lens as well as high critical chance moves, which it didn't have very many of. The only examples are really Night Slash and Cross Poison, which aren't very powerful moves, and Mega Horn obviously isn't going to benefit. So you need to use those high critical chance moves as well as holding the Scope Lens, and even then you're not critting all the time, you're critting about 50% of the time. It's a nice damage bonus when it happens with that Sniper ability. You're doing over 2 times damage. That's more than if you set up to +2 attack. But it's an issue because you're only doing that about 50% of the time, so that's not particularly useful. But now in Pokemon Sun and Moon, in its Learn set, As a relearn move, Ariados can get access to focus energy. If you hold the scope lens, set up a focus energy, then all your attacks are going to critical hit with that sniper boost. That's a lot of damage. And things like Megahorn obviously will benefit from that. You can run Poison Jab over Cross Poison, which is more powerful. And then you've got all your other moves, like your priority moves that Ariados gets access to, things like Sucker Punch and Shadow Sneak. All of these things will work with it, and that's fantastic. Not only that, if the opponent has an Intimidate Pokemon, you'll ignore your own attack drops because you're critical hitting, which is great. And if the opponent is trying to set up some defense boosts, you'll ignore that too. So the Focus Energy set is a really fun one to use, and it's so much more viable now. The issues of Ariados still being slow, not being particularly bulky, are an issue when trying to set up. You could maybe try and run Focus Energy and Agility, but then you're running out of coverage moves, so that's not great either. But it's definitely something to try. If you know that you're coming up against some Intimidate users, then maybe Focus Energy is the set you want to use. I think it's pretty cool, and a lot of people haven't noticed this change yet, so if you want to be ahead of the curve, then check this one out. So the next two changes that I'm going to talk about sort of go hand in hand and are both so pivotal for this Pokemon. The first one I'm going to talk about is a new damaging move that's been added to its coverage, and that is Stomping Tantrum. Stomping Tantrum is a ground type move. It's got base 75 power, which isn't huge. But the reason that it is so helpful is because it is the exact typing that Ariados needed to be able to be an effective attacker. Its stab moves in Megahorn and Poison Jab, they do kind of benefit each other, because Megahorn, the move that you're probably going to spam the most because it is the most powerful, is resisted by fairies, so at least their Poison Jab is able to be super effective against those fairies. But both of these moves are also resisted by poison types, and not only that, resisted by steel types, which obviously they resist the Megahorn and are immune to the Poison Jab. For both of these types, Stomping Tantrum is super effective. So that's crazy. In this one move, you're covering for two extra types that Ariados just completely struggled with before. So Stomping Tantrum is such an amazing addition to Ariados' coverage. The only one typing that you're still a bit iffy with is the ghost typing, because you don't have a stab move that hits it neutrally, and you don't have a super effective move if you're just using these. But actually, Ariados gets Sucker Punch and Shadow Sneak already. You're probably going to be running one of those on your set. So this is such a fantastic addition to Ariados' coverage. It's amazing. Maybe the most pivotal change, but it goes hand in hand with the one I'm going to talk about, so bear that in mind. But really, this catches so many people off guard. Very few people clock that Ariados now has this move. They think that they're Steel type is a hard check to Ariados, and you can now take them out with ease. It is so easy, it's so fun. You need to try out an Ariados with this move in its set. Okay, so the number one move, I'd say probably on level pegging with Stomping Tantrum, and that is the addition of Sword Stance to Ariados' move pool. It's almost hard to believe that a Pokemon like Ariados didn't already have access to this move, and it's not only been added as a move that it can learn through TM or anything like that, not just a learn set move either. This is intrinsic to Ariados' move pool now, because when Spinarak evolves into Ariados, Ariados will automatically learn Sword Stance. This is intrinsic to the Pokemon. It's so important for Ariados now, and I can't believe that it didn't already learn this move. I think that this is incredible. Sword Stance is such a crazy good move for Ariados. We've seen Focus Energy that actually gives a bigger boost in one turn, but what Sword Stance allows you to do is boost multiple times, and not only that, you don't have to run the scope lens, so you can run a more useful item such as the Focus Sash, which means setup is easier, and also with the Swarm ability, if you get taken down to your Sash, you get the Swarm boost. So that's great because you can run different abilities. You don't have to run on Sniper with this set. So Sword Dance is huge, and if you pair that up with Megahorn, Stomping Tantrum, and then a priority move like Sucker Punch, this set can do so much work. No one sees it coming. No one has clocked that this Pokemon gets Sword Dance, and no one has clocked that this Pokemon gets Stomping Tantrum, so they don't know how to deal with it. It's fantastic. Though this Pokemon is still very slow and still kind of frail, you can't expect it to sweep very frequently, if at all. But it's so fun because the opponents don't know it's coming. If you want to be ahead of the curve, get using this now. I think that it's probably going to be more widely known about because in Smogon, ZU has is becoming another meta that's always going to be there on the site, so that's really great. I love these lower tiers. I love being able to use mons that you don't see very frequently, but definitely check this out because it's such a cool set. No one knows what they're doing. They think they can switch in the Probopass to completely counter the Ariados. No, Alolan Golem, goodbye. This is so fun. Definitely check it out now. So there you have it, all the ways you can now use Ariados to be really cool. It's a very nice Pokemon. The definition of surprise attack, which I think is so fitting with the spider design. Spiders are all about surprise attacks, so this Pokemon is great right now. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like. As I say, it helps out the channel and informs me as to what content you want to see. But that's going to be all for today. I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.